Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Omkar and I'll be your host for today. Today I have with me Professor Dr. Nishakant Ojha, who is an expert in diplomatic issues and an experienced international business consultant. He specializes in the domain of information communication and technology issues. Having enlightened several people with his books on geopolitics and insights of the cyber world, he has now written a book about aerospace security. So let's learn more about him and his upcoming publication. Hello, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Omkar.
So tell me a little about yourself and how did you connect with the Quill House?
Okay, this connecting with the Quill House is little bit, it's very short span. I mean, I was also not aware and we came in traction with one of the colleagues.
Okay.
And he told me that, why don't you write a book on this subject? And that's how the relationship started.
Okay.
And in fact, I was having something in my mind, but it was not getting it conceptualized. So when we had a discussion with the Quill representative and we had an arm's length discussion, and he told me that, sir, if you write a book on this particular subject, I mean, it will add some value to the nation and also to the society. Regarding myself, I am basically, as you told me, that I'm a man of technology plus, you can say, a combo of technology plus intelligence. So I have written books on the geopolitical issues, basically with the in context to the West and Middle East. And secondly, I had written a book on the cybersecurity. And not the only difference between my book with the other authors are that my book carries a factual ground reality, which basically operates on the soil. It's not something we are talking about theory or anything like that. Okay, everybody knows about what is cyber, what is aerospace security.
True, yes.
I had worked in the diplomatic capacity. I had been in the major government PSUs. In fact, I am also advising a lot of Middle East and West Asian countries who are basically badly affected by the terrorism. So I'm also helping them in a lot of strategies, how they can basically kill or nail down the terrorism. Whether we talk about Syria, whether we talk about Baghdad, whether we talk about any numbers. So these countries, basically, they take my advice on some of the problem statements. But my core area is something we are talking about. It's the cyber/aerospace security, and then basically the counterterrorism. And counterterrorism also basically on the soils of West Asia and Middle East. I'm a postdoctorate in artificial intelligence from Denmark. And in fact, I'm a law graduate also. And so I understand how the regulatories and how the laws plays with the technology. So, and in fact, you can see that the first book which I wrote about the geopolitical issue, it was when I was working in the Sudan. And it came in my mind that we should write something about the geopolitical issue. Again, the same book, which basically talks about the ground reality. And the second book, because I was involved in many of the operations, I was involved in many of the exercises in context to the cyber and the aerospace. So that basically motivated me to write that particular book. And the third, which I wrote, it was the aerospace security. Now, this book basically came just on, I mean, it was not in my mind. I was thinking because I was in touch some of the professors who are working in the aviation university from the different parts of the world. And they told me that, why don't you write a book or create a kind of an encyclopedia or kind of a Wikipedia or kind of a book, a dossier book, which basically talks about. Majority of people are a little bit confused about aerospace and the drones. But that drones is not something new. It started something from the World War II. It's only the aesthetic change, the model changes, the modus operandi changes, and the ecosystem changes. So that's basically, and the war which happened between the Russia and the Ukraine. that just compelled me to finish my book within a short span of time. And within 1 month, I think I was able to write that particular book. And that's how the Quill, I would like to thank Quill, your organization who basically worked day and night and got my book converted. And now it's basically for the launch. This is something in nutshell, in totality, which I wanted to tell.
So you talked about the geopolitical part of the things. So COVID-19 had it like 3 years ago, and currently the Russia-Ukraine war is going on. So it has impacted everyone's life. So how has it affected the existing geopolitical situations that were like present earlier?
See, thing changes. Geopolitical issues are something which basically you can say that it's not stationary. So according to the environment, the time, the geopolitical keeps on changing.
Right.
Now, how this geopolitical situations impact you? That's a big question mark. I mean, it's something which basically gives you a benefit, which adds value to your country, or something which gives you a way forward to have a better economy. But as of my understanding, which I have seen, in fact, the majority of the geopolitical situation which changes is basically impact in a different way. So it basically has impacted the different countries in affecting the economy. Basically, the inflation rates have risen, and many of the things are there. So it's not we can say it is basically geopolitical issues are some kind of a thing which can be described. Post-COVID, things have changed because about 2 years the whole world was dormant. Nothing was moving, and in fact, that basically gave some kind of different avenues to different countries to work on the geopolitical issues.
Right.
And majority, the world was silent, but the geopolitical environment was much more active in that particular regime.
Yeah.
And that's how it started.
So as you told, like the world was dormant. So the digital age like came into the boom. Basically, in the current digital age, there are a lot of cyber crimes happening. So what, according to you, should be our first steps towards stopping that? Like what we can do?
So when we talk about, I told you that the technology never sleeps. So you can see the beauty of the technology in the post-COVID, what happened. Everything was dormant, everything was slept, but the thing was moving with on the platform, the technology, and technology was multiplying in that particular regime.
True.
Talk about the cyber. Cyber is something, it is not impacted by any kind of environment or positive environment or negative environment or anything. It's nothing like it. Even the COVID regime which happened, it was you can say it was a good, it was a better opportunity for the hackers to work on that particular regime rather than working on now. Because in that, they have got the level speed and everybody was trying to connect on the technology. And when you know that, okay, this is the spot where everybody wants to connect, then your objective and your focus is very clear.
Right.
So it hardly mattered anything. Cyber war is still going on. In post-COVID, it increased. It increased tremendously. But nevertheless, okay, just to counter you, that how can you secure cyber? There is nothing, no technology in this world can protect you.
Right.
And if somebody, okay, this technology is something and you adopt. So, as of my understanding, it's not like that. It's a cut sword edge. Basically, when you're walking on the sword, you slip, your cut. So you have to walk carefully. And the golden principle is that you are hacked and you're not hacked. So it's only vulnerability when exists and you get into a trap and your whole thing is compromised. But you are a smart actor. I mean, you cannot be compromised. You know what are the arts, how these wishing, everything happens.
Yeah.
So I just tell you.
Okay.
That's basically.
Got it. So, tell me something about the book that you've written, Eye for an Eye, A Gambit of Aerospace Security.
Now I told you that I was very closely working on on the subject of the war which was going on the Russia and the Ukraine, and I mean, as I want to tell you that these two countries were my subject. I had worked in depth on these two countries, and initially when the war, these two countries were, I mean, I want to tell you, they are very well equipped with the aerospace security, and they are very well with the drones, UAV and other things. Only the thing is that the warfare, when it started, initially the warfare was between the two countries started on the conventional warfare. It basically man to man or something like that, when the target was identified and you identify and kill it and neutralize and everything. But it changed very fast. And from conventional, it went to the hybrid warfare. Now, when we talk about the hybrid warfare, then these all kind of your and mass destructions technologies, your aerospace, your everything, naval, everything changes in that. In fact, I was working closely on the Middle East also. And I told you that I do advise on the subject of the counterterrorism to help these countries to nail down the terrorism in that particular thing. There, basically, I found that how the drones were used by these terrorists to impact the overall functionality of the government, like countries like when we are talking about the Syria, when we are talking about the Libya, when we are talking about Lebanon, when we are talking about Baghdad, the ISIS Daesh, and when we are talking about the other groups, they were using these technologies, in fact, long time back. And I just wanted to tell you, and earlier also I've told you that the drones journey started from the World War First. So it's not something new. It's only the aesthetic changed. And it's only the model, and it's basically the technology changed. So you can say military drones became a very cultural phenomena. So features in, if you see in these movies and everything. And when I found the classic, there was a lot of gaps also.
Yes.
Talking about the gaps. Now I'm talking on behalf of the government. So when you're not clear of the technology, when you're not clear about the modus operandi, when you're not clear about the how that technology is used, or what's an architecture. When we talk about a drone, drones is sophisticated. It can be a kind of a predator. It can be a kind of a two wooden stick, a motor, and a propeller, and you can use it with the self-suicidal drones. So how you use? So when you are talking about a drone policy or anything, you should be very clear what you are. Either you are talking about, well, let's talk about the commercial drones, when you are talking about the combat drones and all these stuff. So, I mean, when I travel to different parts of the West Asian countries like Iraq, when countries like Iran, and countries to different parts of the even the Scandinavian countries I traveled, I found it's varying. A lot of things are changing. It's not only the drones we are talking about. It's a hell. It's something which is not even, I'm not able to understand where this drones and UV is taking me, how it is used. It can be used for constructive, it can be used for a destructive, it can be used for multiple things. It's how you use that technology. So we thought, let's basically try to concise everything on one common platform. If you go through my book, it talks about the basic architecture of the drones, how it is used in the combat, how it is used in the commercial activities for the country. And then also it talks about many other things like how is the aerospace policies going on in the different parts of the world. US, the big brother, he is well equipped with these things. So I have to do a comparative study with the US and the different parts of the countries. Like we have targeted, we have captured India, we have captured Russia, we have captured Ukraine, we have captured Iraq, Iran, every country, Saudi Arabia, everything. So it's basically, you can say, in totality, I have tried to, you can say, to bring out the facts and basically the real definition of the drones, what exactly the drones is. If you see the drone policy which happened in 2021 in India, I mean, if you see, I'm not able to understand. It means it gives me a feeling that we still are not clear what is drones,
Right.
where it is used. So this book is basically a kind of book which will take you into a journey how the drones basically travel from the constructive way to the destructive way. And not only the destructive way, into the hell, how it goes, and it can be used in different. So that's basically, it talks about that. It talks about the policy issues. It talks about the technology. It talks about intelligence. Now, I just want to tell you why I kept my book's title as Eye on Eye. So it's something, technology doing the surveillance on the technology.
Right. Got it.
If you have a technology and if you think I am basically the leader and I can do the surveillance, interception, and everything, no, there is the counter technology also, which basically is surveillance, is using the interception on you.
Right.
And this book also talks about some kind of real human int. So human intelligence, how these different spy agencies or these intelligence agencies, they are using these things to fetch the information and then use this information basically for their vested agendas or whatever is there. So it's a technology plus the human int. I have tried to bring it together into a short book. So it talks about eye on eye.
Right. So basically, it is an inception of the technology.
Technology plus intelligence when you talk about.
So what is one major issue that will be caused if there is a aerospace security breach?
See, I'm telling you, if you are not able to create a robust ecosystem within your aerospace, Jesus Christ, nobody can help you. So, I mean, it's all happening in the aerospace. Even the missile is traveling on there. The jet, Sukhoi, we can talk about Rafale, everything is moving. Your communication is moving from now. It is not moving on the electromagnetic waves. It is moving through the satellites. It is moving on the different lasers. If you're doing, the technology has changed. So you need to create a kind of an ecosystem which basically gives you a bulletproof environment to secure your aerospace, because nobody is working. The war is not going on the terrestrial, by the way. It's all going on the aerospace.
Right.
So it's very important. And it should be given a lot of focus and consideration for the policymakers, for the combat operations agencies, and basically the army, law enforcement agencies, everybody.
Right. So there are many young people who find aerospace security to be fascinating. So could you tell us, like, the first step to get into aerospace security, to know about it more? Like, apart from the book that you have published, any other newsletters or anything that we can read to know more about aerospace security?
So government is giving a major thrust on the aerospace security, and there are the organization, you can say, in space has been formed under the leadership of Prime Minister, our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, and then a lot of other organizations who basically issue these kind of bulletins. But the only thing is that when we talk about the drones, I have interacted with many of the students, and they only say, sir, drones means drones which basically do some kind of an agriculture exercise, or take one packet from one place to the another, something like that. They are not clear how dangerous these drones can be.
Right.
And when Mr. AI has already joined hand with these kinds of the technologies, you know how the hell it will be. Right. So it's not only when we are talking about, obviously, when we are talking about the commercial drones market growth, it's something around $14,000 market, which is still emerging in 2024. So a lot of, in India, when we are talking about, we need a good drones pilots, basically, who basically are trained for the combats also, and who are basically trained for the commercial activities also. And then indigenous production of the drone, that's the most important thing. As of now, to be very blunt and very clear, we are not still working on the principles of made in make in India and Atmanirbhar. We still are taking some kind of tools, and which basically you can say plays a very vital role. I mean, if tools can be compromised, your whole drones activities can be compromised. They are still imported by the China and the different parts. Need to start. Government has started, and he has told very clearly, given a very clear-cut direction that if you want to do anything, you have to start getting manufactured and designed and doing indigenous activities within the soil of India. So that's basically it's happening. So sooner or later, I'm very positive, and that government regime and everything will go in a better way. But we have to strengthen the aerospace. Is one of the sector which was neglected and which was not focused earlier. We have been working on the terrestrial. We have been working now. We have got different case studies. Like I'm just wanted to tell you. I'll give you an example. One of the law enforcement state police department has approached to us, and he's told that, doctor, I want to have a surveillance drones. Right. Now, that regime, no, I'm not talking about that state police department. I'm talking about that particular geographic region. Who are the law enforcement agencies who are working apart from the state police? State police will have got problem one. But when we are talking about other LEAs like naval or coastal or different, I would not like to name those agencies which are there. So they have got different problem statement. Like naval has got problem 2. When we are talking about Air Force, they've got problem 3, and something the law enforcement intelligence agencies, they've got problem 5 and 6. So you cannot start working in solos. Right. So we told them, okay, you give us all the problem statement. So all the 5 agencies forwarded their problem stated. Okay, we want this, we want to intercept, we want to do, we want to have a kind of an eye on the smuggling activities. We want to have an eye on the anti-poaching and something like that. And then we designed, developed a drones which basically suffice, which is basically in a position to suffice all the requirement. This is how it should be worked. Right. It shouldn't be a shop that you come and you take a drone and you start playing. It changes according to the needs. It changes according to the environment. It changes according to everything. So that's something which should be taken into consideration.
All right. So one question before the rapid fire starts. So when is the book going to go public, and where can we buy the books?
7th, we are trying to launch the book. It's already done. Okay. And in fact, my book was blessed. The demo copy was blessed by the Lieutenant General Rajesh Pant, who was the cybersecurity coordinator in the National Security Council, NSA office. We had given, and copy had been forwarded to different other parts. It has been forwarded to Airport Authority of India, and we have got the views, good views, not bad. We have got the good views about the book. So it has been ordered. On 7th, we will be launching the book. And obviously, I think the books will be available on the Amazon. And I think your publishing house would be the major publishing house which will be taking care of the distribution and everything. But I am very positive if the things is moved, it moves to the within the circumference of the soil. I think it will change the entire concept of the drones, and we will be having a better understanding how this technology works, and then we can use it. So basically, this book was reviewed by my colleagues, and they are expert in their area. So Major General R.K. Singh, who was the senior advisor, strategic affairs and defense. So he has worked in the artillery. He has given his reviews on this particular book that is on the backside of the book. Then we have got Rajesh Mishra, who is an IPS officer, 88 batch, and who's the director forensic lab in Chhattisgarh. and he's a special DG and who basically works on these forensics activities. So he has also given the review on that particular book, which is incorporated in the book. And the third is Mr. Anil Gupta, who is basically the Executive Director, RCS, and working in the Airport Authority of India as of now. And he is the man of RCS, we can say, the regional connectivity scheme, the UDAN, which started. So who can be a better person who works in this particular domain? So he has also reviewed the book. So all the 3% have reviewed, and I think the book is ready to start running. It's ready to get launched. And
Right.
7th, I will be getting the book launched.
Great. So let's start with the rapid fire questions. One word that describes you.
Can say patriotic and passionate.
A person that inspires you in any way.
The only one person who has ever inspired me in my life, apart from the parents, is basically the late CDS Bipin Rawat.
Okay. Which is one of your favorite books?
That's you have asked very, but I mean, it's something which I cannot tell, otherwise the author will reveal, but my book is good.
Okay, got it. What is what would be your go-to method of relaxation following a very busy day?
I just go out and meet people, become a good listener, try only to listen only thing, not to say anything. Okay. And that gives me a relaxation point.
Great. Most interesting thing that you have read or seen this week?
The most interesting thing which I have seen is basically the interesting thing in two ways. One is the bad and one is the good thing. So bad, the disaster which happened in the railway accident which happened in
right.
So that is very painful. Yeah. And the other thing, the best thing I have seen about my Prime Minister, who is basically moving so fast, and he is basically, I think, in a position to put India on the number one.
The last question, right? The last question: do reviews affect you, and if so, how?
Reviews, absolutely, because reviews always try to teach you. Because I'm not a master of everything. So when my book, I told you that this book talks about the combat operation, it talks about the military operations, it talks about the civil commercial organization. That's why, and it talks about the forensic also, so how to intercept the data and everything. That's why we have taken these 3 people to review the book. Right. And in fact, there are certain improvements which I think very soon we will incorporate in our, you can say, coming edition or something after the book is launched, and we will try to incorporate more. And because the technology changes. Right now we are discussing, might another week time everything will change. True. So it's a continuous process.
Yeah. So that ends our rapid fire round. Sir, it was great talking to you with the insights that you gave about the aerospace security, even the cybersecurity and the geopolitics that are there currently. It was very insightful and the knowledge was very nice. I hope the viewers would like it and the viewers would read the books so they can get a better understanding about the aerospace security.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.